Hello, Periscope world. I just had drinks with coworkers. They said goodbye to me. And I'm walking from Wall Street to Penn Station. So it's about an hour, it'll be about an hour walk. And thought I'd share some stuff with you about New York City. I had a couple of drinks, so if I sound, I had actually 2 Long Island iced teas. This is actually the Federal Reserve Building, New York City. And if you have any questions for me about New York City or Wall Street or finance, please ask away. I'm not sure what time it is. Can someone tell me the time? And when did you see the Freedom Tower? Somebody said they saw a Freedom Tower. So thank you very much. It's 7 p.m. It's a little different walk. For me, I usually walk. A month ago. How did you like the Freedom Tower? We're going to pass the Freedom Tower. I'll show it to you in about 2 or 3 minutes when we get to Fulton Street. It's a little windy out and cool. I'm not wearing a jacket. Yeah, it's about an hour walk. I used to do this at least once or twice a day. It's about 3 to 4 miles. It takes about an hour. It was very enjoyable. And I recently moved to a new job. I've been at the job for 4 days, started Monday. And my ex-co-workers took me out for a couple of drinks to say goodbye. It was very nice. I missed them all. They were all really good people. I'm approaching Fulton Street, and Fulton Street has a good view of the Freedom Tower. It's a very comfortable night in New York City. And if you do come to Fulton Street, this Chipotle is very good. And you'll see the Freedom Tower now coming up on the left. But it looks like it's covered in clouds. And it is. You can't really see the whole thing. It's all the way at the end of the block. There's a Freedom Tower, but you could see maybe 50 stories. It's too cloudy out today. So I'm going to show you a few shortcuts through New York City.
I don't know. How I definitely can.
How did you like the Statue of Liberty? It must be great. I don't usually walk at this time, so the city, I usually walk at about 5 p.m., 5 to 6 p.m., and so there's a lot more people out tonight. So this shortcut is actually going to take me through Chinatown, and I'm going to walk through Little Italy, then Soho, and I'm going to miss it. One of the things about this walk, it's very quiet. Not that many people. If you ever walk Midtown, it gets really packed. And I'm walking now from 34th Street to to 42nd Street, and it's just really crowded. I'm by a hospital now. It's one of the only hospitals downtown. I'm not sure of the name of it. Yes, Little Italy is getting pushed out by Chinatown. So you can see it's not that crowded, but I'm working near Times Square now and it's packed. You can barely walk. Coming up on Pace University, which is in front of me right now. And we're going to pass the Brooklyn Bridge soon, which is going to come up on the right. And then there's a couple of shortcuts many people don't know about that we're going to walk right through Chinatown into Soho. And I'll probably take a couple of more interesting turns just to show you some of the stuff that's in New York. So you used to love those record stores. I did too. Matter of fact, I must have about 4,000 CDs at home that I bought over the years at a place called J&R Music World, which is actually it was a great music store. It's going to be to my left right now, and I'm coming up on City Hall, which I don't know that you'll be able to see that well, which I'm facing that City Hall. It's hard to see. We're really close to the Brooklyn Bridge now, and again, I'm going to walk a little bit out of my way right now just to show you the block where J&R Music World was. Very noisy on the street. There's actually usually some guys. Well, J&R was somewhere down this block, but you can't really see it. So what's here? I think that's the Woolworth building. It's pretty interesting. And let's continue to, I don't know if you can see the sign here, it says FDR Brooklyn Bridge. So you can get on the Brooklyn Bridge here. I've walked across the Brooklyn Bridge a lot of times. Very enjoyable walk. If you ever get to New York City, walk across the Brooklyn Bridge, especially if it's a nice day. It gets a little windy in the winter. Okay, so we're actually by Pace University now. Not sure what kind of school it is, but it doesn't seem to be a real school that a lot of geniuses go to. But it is a college. And this is the shortcut. So over here in front of me is the Brooklyn Bridge, and maybe we'll get to see it. And we're going to go underneath a subway stop. So you can't really see it from here. I'm going to have to when we come on the other side. So this is the I'm going down into the subway. It says Brooklyn Bridge, City Hall Station. And you can't see it. There it goes. It's zoomed in. So we're not going to go into Brooklyn. And we're heading towards the shortcut. So right now, I'm behind it. It's a really nice building here. It's an interesting building. I'm pretty sure people get married here, and you can't really see it from here. So when we get a little bit past it, I'll show it again. I have a feeling that it's pretty windy. There's a lot of wind, so you're probably hearing shh. And we're approaching what's called Police Plaza. But one of the things you notice is that there's no cars here. So I'm going to walk about 15 to 20 minutes without seeing a car or not bumping into many cars. There's a little solar charging station. but I'm not wearing a jacket, so the weather's pretty nice for October 19th, if that's what day it is. Kind of a nice building there. I actually just passed like a prison, and I forgot to show it to you. It's another nice building. And we're kind of walking behind the courts very soon. But again, this is a shortcut through Chinatown. And this might be the last day I ever do this walk. I used to do this walk every day for probably at least the last 6 years. Rarely do I do it at this time, 7 o'clock again. I usually do it at 5. Is it my shadow? It's very quiet. And I know it's probably very bouncy because every time I take a step, the camera it's hard to hold straight. Maybe one day they'll have the camera will have a better focus so it doesn't get affected by walking. So again, we've walked good 10 minutes already, and there's very few cars. No cars on these streets here. That's the building. I think it's usually lit up. I don't know why it's not lit up. It's a very nice building. And there's a lot of courts here. And again, no cars here except these on the street, but they're blocked from traveling through here. I think there's some sort of gates. I don't know if you can see them all the way in the back there. And this is another courthouse, 500 Pearl. Little sign here, see what it says. Something about sounding stones, Norwegian pearl granite blocks. Not sure what that means. Oh, they put these blocks up. It's kind of not sure what you're supposed to do here. And they just built this. I'm not sure what it is. Looks like a lot of metal detectors, maybe bomb detectors. And once again, the shortcut is going to take me to Chinatown. I'm going to take you to, there's a little fountain here. Usually has running water. Some statues, and again, no explanation of what it is. Okay, so I'm coming close to Chinatown. There's going to be a park called Columbus Park on my right. It's kind of the beginning of Chinatown. Actually, this is Worth Street and Baxter. For those of you watching, I'm walking from Wall Street to Penn Station, probably for my last time, if I don't get hit by a car. It's nighttime, and we're by Columbus Park in Chinatown. There used to be a lot of rats here. I mean, you could walk by and the rats would walk in the street, would walk on the path and not be afraid at all. But they seem to have gotten rid of them. And we're going to go past an ice cream place called Igloo. If you look it up on the internet, you could find some pictures. They have some interesting looking ice cream. There's a little soccer field. That bright light it's to light up the soccer field. So looks like some sort of league. And one thing, there's a lot of people in Chinatown that do, I don't remember what this is called. Some sort of exercise. Looks like karate. we're behind the courts here, and there's a prison over here somewhere. So still, as you notice, it's a very nice, very relaxing walk. I'm walking by a park over here. Some soccer going on. And during the day, since it's 7 o'clock now, it's not that crowded, but there's a lot of Chinese that hang out here. Playing, I think, Go. There's people playing musical instruments. Here's a bunch. Maybe I'll get a view of them playing Go. Looks like some sort of card game. It's pretty quiet now. Again, it's very safe here. I would guess that the crime is very low crime. I mean, it's a park and people are just sitting here. Okay, here's Igloo. I've never eaten there, but I've seen people with these enormous, ginormous ice cream things. So if you like ice cream, they're expensive, I think. I would recommend just by sight that it looks like a good place to stop. There's Igloo. I don't know if you can see the person eating the ice cream. Okay, we're in Chinatown. And one interesting thing is that the signs actually have Chinese letters on it. I guess they call them kanji. You probably can't see it from here, so if I can get that. You see on the bottom of Bayard, we got the kanji characters. Okay, so this is Chinatown. A lot of the signs will be in Chinese and English. And I've eaten in a restaurant here that I can highly recommend. It's a vegetarian restaurant called Buddha Boda. I'm not vegetarian, but I have eaten here. It's actually kosher and vegetarian, and the food was really good. Cleaner than most Chinatown restaurants, and the service was also much better. And it's kind of quiet here now. At 5 o'clock, it's a lot more crowded. It is 7 o'clock on a Thursday night. One of the things you'll notice if you come in around 5 before things close is there's a smell of fish. It's a horrible smell. Okay, we're approaching, and again, more Chinese writing. Vietnam restaurant. And we're approaching Canal Street, which is a pretty busy street. Interesting if you want to just visit, if you come to Chinatown. There's some interesting fruits here. I don't know what this one is. White dragon. Interesting.
What
So, I don't know what that is. Very interesting. Got the green light. We're on Mulberry, which is going to take us into Little Italy. Canal Street looks pretty empty right now. So this is Little Italy, and this is the beginning, where Canal meets Mulberry. I'm walking from Wall Street to Penn Station for probably the last time. I was just taken out for drinks by coworkers. They're very nice people. And I'm right now in Little Italy. It's very quiet today. The weather is really nice. This always looks good. Cannoli World, and some gelato. Looks really good. It's expensive here. The restaurants are pretty expensive. It has kind of a European feel. There's a lot of places to eat outside. There's a festival sometime in August, September called the San Gennaro Festival. Actually, maybe it was in October. More people outside, enjoying a nice evening, eating dinner. Again, very safe out here. They've done a great job in New York City, and I was reading about why New York City is safer. It's because of a policy I believe Giuliani worked on called broken windows. This is a Christmas store that's open year-round, which is kind of weird. And so the broken windows, the idea is that if you clean up the broken windows and remove graffiti, that people behave better. And I was just reading a book by Cialdini about persuasion, and he talks about studies where people will litter or do something bad if they see other people violating a law. Welcome. I'm walking from Wall Street to Penn Station in New York City for my final time. I'm in Little Italy right now in New York City, in Manhattan. And if you have any questions for me, please ask away. Be happy to answer anything you have. Okay, this is actually the first red light I've been stuck at. And stopped at as I almost get hit by a bike rider. I will almost make it all the way to Penn Station without even stopping. There I had to stop for about 2 or 3 seconds. Again, more people sitting outside, enjoying the beautiful night in New York City.
Oh, obviously.
Painting there. Sorry. And again, it's very relaxing here, not a lot of traffic. We're still in Little Italy right now. A lot of restaurants. I think I counted once, and there's over 50 restaurants. Don't remember the exact number. A lot of places to eat outside. But it is expensive. Okay, now it's starting to end. And I'm going to guess this is Soho we're probably entering. Doesn't have that Little Italy feel anymore. Again, more people sitting outside. Shops, flower shop, barber shop. Some sort of health food store. construction. Last video I made, I showed a lot of construction. Here's another site to the right. At this exact block, I saw somebody almost get hit by a car. I yelled to the guy, "Watch it," and he stopped, and then the car would have hit him had I not said that. He kept walking and didn't give me a thank you. By the way, if somebody does you a favor, always tell them thank you. Okay, I would say we're out of Little Italy now, in Soho, and approaching Houston Street. Now on this block, there's going to be a church coming up on the right that sometimes they actually have sheep eating the grass. It's kind of weird. This place always looks nice. It's Tatarni. It looks like a very nice place. Casual. You notice most people are casual here, and again, very few cars on this walk. Very quiet part of the walk. And we're approaching Houston Street, which will take us out of Soho. This place looks interesting also. I can't read the name. Ruby's. It's called Ruby's. A little small place, very crowded. There's a place coming up on the right called the Grey Dog on Mulberry Street. It says 244 Mulberry Street. Always looks interesting to me. And there's actually a place for rent right next to it. If you want to rent out a restaurant on Mulberry Street. One of the things about New York City, they say it's the city that never sleeps, and I think it gets much busier after 10 o'clock. Okay, this church on the right is where the sheep will eat the grass. I'm sure they're not there, but if you pass it, you should take a look inside, and sometimes there are sheep there. We're coming up to a sign. It's going to be on the right side here. There's a couple of signs here. This one is showing all the games that it says Play Street Little Italy, and they show stickball, which I played as a kid. There's a game here called Scully, which is a lot of fun. Jump rope, if you can read that. And to the right is where, if you look in the fence here, and if you see people taking pictures, that means the sheep are there. I'm walking through New York City, Manhattan right now, from Wall Street. From Wall Street to Penn Station. It's actually a public library right here. And a quaint little block. Again, very safe in New York City. If you're in downtown, midtown, or the Upper East and West Side. We're approaching Houston. which is spelled like Houston, but it pronounced Houston. I just saw a leg sticking out from a garbage can. I didn't get it. And again, it's a very relaxing walk. People are not that friendly though. Everybody's in their own little world. So we're at Houston. Subway stop here. You pass many. This is the 6BDF&M. Bleecker. We're approaching Bleecker Street, which is an interesting street. If you get a chance, walk down Bleecker, which take you through Greenwich Village. I'm not sure what divides East Village and West Village, but I think it feels like we're in the East Village. Once again, a lot of construction going on.
It's cool. Yeah.
It's my shadow. Some more construction right here. And I've eaten at this place across the street, which is the NoHo Star. There's a guy at the bar who's supposedly a regular, and he is somebody famous. He's a musician. I don't remember his name. So if you're there, you can look for him. You see a African-American gentleman sitting at the bar. He might be a famous musician, and he'll let you know. There's another place that's probably going to get knocked down for new construction. And we're on Lafayette Street now, heading towards Astor Place.
No, I asked.
This is new construction. I'm going to guess this was built probably about 3 to 5 months ago. I'm sure it's expensive, multi-million dollar apartments. More construction. It says 22 Bond Street. They have an interesting logo, which you can't really see. If I don't get hit by a car. Somebody wrote some graffiti. It's one of the amendments of freedom of religion. Not sure which one. And I see a sign, 732, 67 degrees in New York City. So there you go. Construction, you can't see anything.
Which is actually.
So I'm on Lafayette Street right now. Lafayette and Great Jones Street. And this place across the street always looks interesting. I've never been there. I don't know if it's a cafe or coffee bar. a subway which runs below us. Hey, I'm stuck in traffic, so I'll walk this way. My next stop is going to be Strand Bookstore, just because I have to go potty. There's a place across the street that says Shakespeare in the Park, Public Theater, Joe's Pub. I've never been there, but it looks interesting, and I understand there's a restaurant inside. And more work here. We're coming up on Blue Man Group Tube, which is going to be on the left. Oh, that's weird. This guy is on a bicycle. You probably couldn't see it. He was about 10 feet in the air. And up in front of me is Blue Man Group Tube, which I haven't been to, so I can't tell you about it, except some scary guys looking blue do a lot of drumming, is what I understand. Building on the right says Watson in it, so I guess that might be where they do something with Watson, either sell it or something else. Interesting building with interesting curves. Subway noises, and a Starbucks if you like coffee on Astor Place. So we're in the numbers now in Manhattan. Houston Street is the beginning of Zero Street, and then it goes up from there. Some streets have names, some have numbers. There's a subway here. I was stuck again at a light. It's Cooper Union in the background. We're by NYU now, so there are probably a lot of NYU students. And that red thing there, which you can't see, says IBM Watson. I'm coming up on 14th Street. I'm going to turn on 13th Street to go to Strand Bookstore. There's also a Barnes & Noble on, I'm going to say, north of Union Square Park, which we are also approaching. Coming up to a pool hall on the right called Amsterdam Billiards, and there's some sort of restaurant here. Seems very crowded. I have no idea what it's called. Doesn't have a sign. It's some sort of Chinese writing, I think. And I think also Webster Hall is right over here to the right. Or maybe it's a block north. One thing I never knew, there's actually a 4th Street, 4th Avenue, if you can see it. It's very short, doesn't go far. And across that red lights is the billiard place. One thing they did that's new in New York City is they built a lot of bike paths. And here's one of them. Now across the street, if you're a Seinfeld fan, is one of the post offices they show that Newman worked at. It's hard to tell, but it is the post office from Seinfeld. It's on 11th Street and 4th Avenue. We're also coming up to a Halloween store, or not a Halloween store, it's like a costume store that happens to be open year-round. I've never gone in it, but it looks interesting, so if you're into that kind of stuff, I would suggest coming down here and taking a look at it if you're in New York City. It's called Makeup, Wigs, Costumes, Halloween Adventure New York Costumes. Kind of interesting stuff. It's more serious costumes, and again, open year-round.
Oh my god, I wish we would have. Oh, yeah. No, it sucks having to deal with that.
Approaching 12th Street and 4th Avenue. I like this sign. You can't see it, I'm sure. It says Think Coffee, one of the competitors to Starbucks. Oh, see. So we're going to head over towards, I think it's north. We'll go down this way. I think Strand might be here or the next block. So Strand is a used bookstore, and they have a lot of books. You can find books for $1. I've bought 10 books, $10 here. And here we're here. I'm gonna stop in the men's room first. You see $1. Actually, almost missed it. They're doing construction here. More $1 books. You can go up a little bit, 2 to 5, but it's nice. You can come here and look for books, and you can also go to the bathroom. Okay, the bathroom is on the upper floor. There's an elevator and a staircase. So you head up the staircase. I think it's on this floor. Actually, it's on top floor. And I don't know that there's a way to pause a broadcast, so if you're coming in with me, there's a sign for the restrooms. And battery's low. Let's see behind me. This is what I see. Looks like a store. Some events. I'm still here, talking to myself. Okay. Flush. Flush. Okay, a lot of books. It's used, and there are some new books here. I mean, if you like books, I'm sure you can find something here that's interesting. Does it look interesting? So let me see if I could find something. I'll start with the cheap books. I'm not really in the mood to buy books today, so I'm probably not going to get anything. But you can see, if you like books, this is the place to be. This book caught my eye. It's amazing how many people write books. $48 books. Yeah, I'm not in a book mood today, so I'm probably not going to get anything unless something really pops out at me. A lot of diet books. Banish Your Belly. Business plans, maybe. Barefoot running. See, these are all interesting. Successful affiliate marketing. I mean, you could really spend a couple hours here just looking for books. And for $1, how can you beat that? Nothing's catching my eye. It's a funny title. 5 very good reasons to punch a dolphin in the mouth. So how many of these authors made money on these books? Probably none. How much work did they put in? Probably a lot. It's interesting. If I wasn't in a rush, I'd get this one for $1. Cope with change at work. Sounds interesting. And I'm sure you could probably sell these on Amazon. Some of them maybe. Yeah, I'm just not feeling it today. And I'm sure this is going to just shut off at some point. We're probably running very low on battery. For the people that were on in the beginning, thank you for watching. See some events at Strands. My guess is very few people make money writing books, yet spend a tremendous amount of time. I've written 2 books. One is called The Wisdom of a Dad. If you go to wisdomofadad.com, you can see it there. And another one called 69 Immutable Laws of Weight Loss, which is at xldiet.com. Never really finished them. I put them out on ebooks. They're free. Maybe one day I'll try to sell it, which means I won't. That maybe one day is a clear sign of something you won't do. There's a movie theater here.
And then they're the ones.
Okay, we're approaching Union Square Park, and there's supposedly a very good chocolate place across the street. Max Brenner Chocolate by the Bald Man. Approaching 14th Street. And north of the park is a Barnes & Noble. And again, very safe in New York City. There's some of the bikes you can rent. It's starting to get more crowded. I would say 14th Street is the place where crowds start to pick up. There's a Whole Foods over here if you like Whole Foods. Union Square. And there's some sort of show in that white building there. It says Fura's Room. I'm not sure what that is. We're approaching the park now. A lot of young people. There's a juggler. I used to juggle. He's got 3 clubs. He's doing okay. They do shows here. There's a couple of guys do acrobatics. The juggler he just passes wearing earphones. I don't know if you want to meet people, probably not a good idea. Again, people just hanging out in the park. Just sitting here. Again, I haven't seen any homeless people. There's a little dog park over here. If you watch the show The Impractical Jokers, they often do things here. Funny show. It's on True TV. If you haven't watched it, I'd recommend watching it. There's the coffee shop. Used to be very popular years ago.
Okay, let me try to throw
Oh, it's a cute dog.
back up.
People just chilling. It's very relaxing in New York City. And we're going to be hitting Broadway very soon. People just sitting, hanging out. Place to sit if you want to relax. I was going to say Hillary Clinton's daughter lives here, but I think it's on 26th Street. So we're heading over to Broadway now. And Broadway is one of the only streets in this part of Manhattan that doesn't go straight, like a grid. See? Welcome to Union Square Park. And this is 14th Street, Union Square Park. And here's the subways that go here. There's usually a lot of vendors here, but they're clear out, I think, at 5. And Barnes & Noble's right over there. Very big. It's like 5-story Barnes & Noble. They've closed most of them. And Dylan's Candy Bar is right here. If you're into candy. And you can't see it. And we're approaching Broadway. This is where Broadway continues. And I'm on 17th Street right now, and there's a really good sporting goods store called Paragon's here. If you're in New York City, I would recommend going to Paragon's. They have everything. The prices used to be good. I'm not sure if they still are. But one of the few remaining independent sporting goods around. I have a feeling they're not doing that well. And again, you notice that there's just not a lot of traffic where I've been walking. It's Paragon's. It's been here for a lot of years. Great sporting goods store, I have to say. And Broadway here gets a little more dingy. It's not as nice. Another movie store on the right. Again, they've made a lot of bike paths. If you like to ride a bike, you can't go wrong in New York City. This used to be a big street, I think. 3 lanes are now barely a lane of traffic. The noise you're hearing is construction, I think. Some sort of cleaning. And you can see it's got a little bit more crowded here. So here's very pro-Hillary. It says, isn't this funny? Donald Trump quotes. Pretty funny. All of his quotes. I mean, Donald Trump could have easily won this election if he was smart. He's got a big mouth, and I don't believe there's any way he can win. Interesting that we had such a bad election. Well, we didn't have the election yet. Just the election between these two people that you got to think, and I've heard other people say this, how is it possible that there's no two better people to be president than them two? The Empire State Building is right there, but it's too cloudy to see it. It's pretty humid out tonight. And you notice more scaffolding, means construction. Okay, the first time I have to jog a little bit to make a light. I'm approaching the Flatiron Building, which is up there. Empire State Building there. Too bad it's a cloudy day. I'm sure any second this thing is going to shut off. I think that's the Zeckendorf building. And again, the Flatiron building from the back. I'll get a picture from the other side or a video. They made a lot of plazas where you can sit. There's another nice place. It's pretty empty today. I would say here, if you come here, at 5 p.m. it's much more crowded. It's probably about 7:45, I'm going to guess. And up on the straight ahead is Italy, which is expensive but very interesting. If you haven't been to an Italy, I would suggest it. On the right here is Madison Square Park, with a Shake Shack there with usually very long waits. So I think the first Shake Shack is over there somewhere. A lot of people take pictures here because of the Flatiron building, which we're right underneath. There are other triangular buildings in New York City which I kind of like, but this one for some reason is very popular. I'm not sure why. I think there's a famous picture of it. And there's the park, and actually Madison Square Garden, I believe, was in this park at one point, and that's why it's called Madison Square Garden, Madison Square Park. Here's the Flatiron building again. And Italy is right over here. again, it's nice. It's pretty empty right now. Surprising. I think it's between when people left work and when people come out. And Italy is right here. It's a bunch of different stores. I can't really describe it, but it's a place to eat. A lot of Italian type foods. There's actually one in Wall Street that I actually had lunch in. A friend of mine had pasta, and it was really a bowl of spaghetti in sauce, and it cost him $15. Some of the bikes, city bikes. I'm getting close. There's Zeckendorf building again.
We should pause here because the way the streets are, we should go down here.
I'm not sure what that building is. And there's a club here. I think it's owned by Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, whatever his name is. I'm too old to really know who he is. It's called 4040, I think, or 40. It's going to be on the left. It's called 4040. Club. Got the velvet rope going. 25th Street. I'm heading towards Penn Station. My last time, probably. It's a beautiful walk. I really enjoy it. I'm going to miss it. Great way to unwind. And it's a little dreary here. It kind of gets dark. There's a fewer stores. There's a bookstore here, which seems to be a more upscale bookstore, Rizzoli, which opened recently. This place here, last time I checked, and I'm going to run a little bit, had a lot of people eating outside, which it does. And on my left is a place called Tashi, where they have some bands playing. And they don't seem to get a big crowd, but I don't know. Some music. I guess if you want to talk to somebody, not the place to go, I just twisted my ankle. And at this place, it's all wholesale. A lot of wholesale stores. It's kind of not nice. This place always looks nice. The Smith. Let's go to the street. Uh, 27th Street. Pizza shop. Not a lot of stuff here. Nothing to tell anybody to go visit. Again, a lot of wholesale, Fashion City, body oil and watches. You can read it. Perfume. It's kind of old wholesale. It's closed now. This block over here always feels a little uncomfortable. Some shady characters hanging out. Okay, I'm going to make a left on 28th Street and head towards Penn Station, which is a few blocks away. Penn Station's on 31st and 7th Avenue. I'm on Broadway. And it's not nice here. It's more graffiti, kind of dark and dreary, but safe. I've never felt unsafe here. It would be great if the battery lasts. I don't think it will. Interesting looking place.
I want to hear about your party too.
I can see you.
Pergola seems to be happening.
Well, that's not bad. No.
Everything else is just nothing adventurous. Wholesale stores. Just a dreary, bad feng shui block, if I pronounce that right. Wrong. I never, this part of the walk, which is the last few blocks, always is depressing. No, depressing is the right word. Just missing something. Dirty. Graffiti. So I'm on, I believe this is 6th Avenue, or is it 5th? 6th Avenue, 28th Street. Yeah, it's a little bit more crowded here. No, it's still not bad. It looks like this McDonald's closed or is rebuilding or doing something. So if the battery does die now, it's not that bad because there's really nothing left here except maybe to see Madison Square Garden and Penn Station. And Penn Station is not much of a building because you can't really see it. It's just underground. It's getting a little bit more crowded in the streets. A lot of hotels on this block. They're probably expensive, but not that expensive because it's an ugly block. This is pretty new. There's a hotel, Sindigo. Again, a lot of shops are closed, but still very safe. If this makes it until I get to Penn Station, it'll be like the Hanukkah miracle where there isn't enough oil to last one day, but it lasted 8 days, and I don't have enough battery to last one block, but it lasted 8 blocks. Parking lot. Usually these parking lots eventually get turned into buildings. You know, somebody's going to come say, I want to buy that property. I think we're in the flower district. There's one of the blocks, I think it's 28th Street, sells a lot of flowers, trees. Yeah, this is the block, 28th. So if you want to buy some sort of plant or flowers, come to 28th Street between 6th Avenue and 7th Avenue.
Tell you to like say things.
And I'm approaching the final